Hello English learners, welcome to Global English, a weekly series of English lessons to practice English language for daily conversation. Global English, lesson number 4. I need more time. I'm sure you have been in a situation before where the deadline is tomorrow, and you are not even close to finishing your project. In this lesson, you will learn some helpful English phrases, so you can tell your boss that you need more time to finish your project. First, let's listen to a dialogue between Samantha and her boss, where Samantha needs more time to put together a press kit. Okay, now let's listen to the dialogue for the first time. It might be difficult for you to understand it, but don't worry. I will be back and explain you some key phrases and words that you hear from the dialogue. So, Samantha, how are things going with the photos for the press kit?
I've been meaning to talk to you about that. I might need to ask for an extension on that deadline.
You've had over a month to get this finalized. Why are things delayed?
Well, the thing is, we ran into a lot of problems.
I'm not looking for excuses here. I just want to get this finished on time.
I know, and I apologize for the delay. But some things were just beyond my control. I had trouble with a photographer, and then, William had been sick for 3 weeks, so I couldn't include him in the photos. And the design team lost all the files, so I had to redo the pictures.
I'm not going to put this off any longer, Samantha. I want those photos ASAP. Alright, Samantha is in trouble. Her boss is pretty upset with her over the press kit. Let's review some vocabulary that you just heard from the dialogue in the next section. Vocabulary review. In this section, I have 5 keywords for you from the dialogue. Let's review them. The first word in this section is press kit. So, what's a press kit? A press kit is something that the marketing department will put together. It basically consists of pictures, company logo, some information about the organization, for public display or information. When a magazine or a newspaper wants to write an article about the company, the press kit is something that is ready for publishing in the print media, for publicity. Okay, now let's move on to the next word. The second word from today's lesson is deadline. So, what's a deadline? Deadline basically means the last possible date to do something. For example, when you were in school, your teacher would always give you a deadline to complete your homework. At work, you have projects that you have to complete by a certain date, so that's your deadline. Well, we often miss our deadlines, don't we? Okay, now let's move on to our next word. The third word from today's lesson is extension. What's an extension? Actually, extension and deadline go together. If you don't meet your deadline, you will need an extension. Extension means to ask for more time to complete something. Maybe a project at work, or homework at school. Extension also means to move the deadline to a time in the future by postponing the current date. Okay, let's move on to the next word from the dialogue. The fourth word from the dialogue is run into. In the dialogue you heard Samantha saying,
Well, the thing is, we ran into a lot of problems.
Let's take a look at some example sentences, so we can understand the meaning better.
Example 1.
We ran into an accident on our way home from the picnic.
Example 2.
If Michelle is not careful with her weight now, she will run into a lot of problems later.
Example 3.
I ran into some trouble with my computer, it's just not booting. So, if you run into some problems, it means you meet with some problems. I have heard a lot of my students say, I met some problems. But that's completely wrong. Rather you should say, I ran into some problem. You should never say, I met some problems, always say, I ran into some problems. That's the right way. Now, let's review the last word. The fifth word in this section is delayed. So, when something is delayed, it means it is late. And the opposite of delayed is to be on time. For example, your train is either delayed or is on time. Your project was either delayed or was on time. Okay, now that you have understood the meaning of all the key words, let's go back to the dialogue and revise all the key words again. Listen carefully to all the words as they appear in the dialogue, and practice them. I will be back after the dialogue, and explain you some of the key phrases that you will hear from the dialogue. So, Samantha, how are things going with the photos for the press kit?
I've been meaning to talk to you about that. I might need to ask for an extension on that deadline.
You've had over a month to get this finalized. Why are things delayed?
Well, the thing is, we ran into a lot of problems.
I'm not looking for excuses here. I just want to get this finished on time.
I know, and I apologize for the delay. But some things were just beyond my control. I had trouble with a photographer, and then, William had been sick for 3 weeks. So, I couldn't include him in the photos. And the design team lost all the files, so I had to redo the pictures.
I'm not going to put this off any longer, Samantha. I want those photos ASAP. Alright, you have heard some wonderful phrases in the dialogue that you can use when you want to ask for more time. Come, let's review all the key phrases from the dialogue in the next section of this lesson. The Fluency Builder. In this section, I have 3 phrases for you. Let's review them, and see how you can use them in your daily conversation. The first phrase from the dialogue is, I've been meaning to. Let's take a look at some example sentences, to see how you can combine I've been meaning to with different verbs, to understand the meaning of this phrase.
Example 1.
I've been meaning to tell you since yesterday, John won't come to work, he quit the job.
Example 2.
I'm sorry, I haven't called you yet. I've been meaning to, but I have been very busy.
Example 3.
I've been meaning to see that film for a while, but I have this project deadline. I've been meaning to basically means that you want to do something, or planning to do it, but you cannot, because of some reasons. Maybe you don't have the time or money for it. A very good phrase, isn't it? Alright, now let's move on to our next phrase. The next phrase is beyond my control. Well, something that is beyond your control, it means you cannot control it. In other words, you can't do anything about it. For example, the climate, or weather, is beyond your control. In the dialogue, you heard Samantha saying,
But some things were just beyond my control.
Well, She was helpless, as her coworker William had been sick for a month, and she couldn't do anything about it. It was not her fault. Okay, let's move to the last phrase in this section. The last phrase from this lesson is, to put this off. Let's look at some more examples, and then I will explain you the meaning of this phrase.
Example 1.
I have been putting off this project for a week, and it's due tomorrow.
Example 2.
William asked his secretary to put off all his meetings for the next week, as he was busy with the audit.
Example 3.
I had put off my email the whole day and now I've 50 messages to respond to. So, when you put something off, you leave it for later, or you postpone it. For example, I have to write a lesson today, but I'm going to put it off for tomorrow. It means I'll write it tomorrow. Alright, you have seen some really great words and phrases. Now, let's listen to the dialogue for the last time. Listen to the dialogue for the last time, to review all the vocabulary and phrases that you have learned from this lesson. I will come back and explain you more. So, Samantha, how are things going with the photos for the press kit?
I've been meaning to talk to you about that. I might need to ask for an extension on that deadline.
You've had over a month to get this finalized. Why are things delayed?
Well, the thing is, we ran into a lot of problems.
I'm not looking for excuses here. I just want to get this finished on time.
I know, and I apologize for the delay. But some things were just beyond my control. I had trouble with a photographer, and then William had been sick for 3 weeks, so I couldn't include him in the photos. And the design team lost all the files, so I had to redo the pictures.
I'm not going to put this off any longer, Samantha. I want those photos ASAP. Okay, what do you think? Were Samantha's reasons to her boss genuine? I think they were. As it was not her fault completely, the situation with the photographer, and then her co-worker had been sick for 3 weeks. But, maybe the lost files thing, I think she was just making an excuse. Well, I would like to hear from you. Were the excuses given by Samantha genuine? Kindly share your comments below this video, explaining what do you think about Samantha's excuses. That's the end of today's lesson. I am sure now you know how to ask your boss for some more time if you cross your deadline. Thank you for watching us. Do watch all the videos to better your English language skills. Do subscribe to our channel and stay updated with all the latest uploads. I will see you again soon with another English lesson. Till then, bye, and take care.